1, 2, 3, clap.
How many people think you say 1, 2, 3 each time?
I don't know, but it's probably not none. Hi, and welcome to Hey Buddy, Nice Podcast. Over there in Scotland, questioning me if we need to do this intro every time. That's Brogan Hastings.
And forcing me to do this for the 53rd time, it's Wayne Giovanazzi.
And hey, in America, like COVID, I'm still here, even though you probably want me gone.
I was about to say, do I look like I've got a gun in my hand? No, I'm not American, but our friend Jobeth is joining us.
So I'll answer Brogan's question. Until you jacked up the outro by accidentally playing the intro, I thought you guys did the clap every time.
Really? Really?
Or at least wasn't sure. I at least was not sure until you accidentally hit the intro when you meant to hit the outro. Then I knew for sure. Then it was peeled back.
Now that I've got my soundboard back and up and running, you're gonna hear these accidental things all the time now. I'm gonna hit the wrong button every time.
I mean, we used to do it live. For the first 3 or 4 episodes.
No, the way we used to do it was when we didn't have a theme song yet, and we were using Snake by the Whiskey, courtesy of ICS and Justin.
Yeah.
We would do the 1, 2, 3 clap, just to sync, which we don't. Yeah. We realized we don't need to do, and then that was edited on top of the theme, the temporary thing. What did you... Oh, you liked the 1, 2, 3 clap and said we need to keep that in. Yeah, because it doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. I don't know what Jacob is on about, thinking he needs these claps. They've got all this expensive Opal software, hardware, whatever the fuck it is. I don't know. I mean, I've not been in the podcast biz very long. Look, we're not even a year in, and I feel like we've got a handle on it more than what an audio guy does. I'm going out there and saying it. You heard it.
He's too busy tending to...
I wasn't sure if you said dogs or ducks, and then I realized, callback last episode, ducks, and it's Jacob, of course it's ducks, but he also has dogs, so it could have gone either way. But yeah, joining us, Jobeth, hello. How are you since
Welcome back.
10 minutes ago?
I know, it's been a while since we've done this.
How was your cruise?
It was, I'll let you know. I'm looking forward to it, honestly. It's such a unique way compared to other normal travel. Like I was talking to my uncle who lives in Hawaii, so he's like 5 hours time zone difference from me. Wow. Recently, about going on a cruise, and he's never done one. And I'm like, and I just recently did the first one a couple months ago. Sometimes I want to get in this mode. Like, there's 2 travel modes for me. One of them is the get out there, explore, see all the things, what's new. You guys were talking about all the stuff that you guys want to do in Vegas. And I don't need to answer this question that you guys asked in the episode for Brogan, because as I'm listening, I'm sending Brogan messages about this, that, and the other. But even as somebody who's a regular in Vegas, I was interested in that episode. So cool. I believe others probably were. But sometimes with travel, I like to show up and get in the bubble and just stay there. Yeah. So I'm not worried about, other than, hey, do I want to go to the piano bar, or do I want to go eat for the 5th time today, or do I want to go to the casino, or do I want to go get in the pool? Like, that's the extent of the decision making that you're making when you're on something like a cruise. Like, it's a whole world all right there. Yep. Again, my experience is 5 whole days from the first cruise that I went on, so I'll definitely have follow-up, and shameless plug, you'll hear all about it on Big Sexy Digital Nomad. A seamless segue to plug that. So
no shameless plugs. It's just a plug. You should feel shame.
We are, they talk about what is it, dick and tit farmers. We are just each other's pimps and hoes out here in the ICS kind of offshoot podcast realm, because I'm pretty sure that at least all of the ones that are in my regular rotation, that we plug the shit out of you guys whenever there's an opportunity. You do the same. There's constantly mentions of all these podcasts and each of us as individuals on 2 characters and a clown. I'm just now, and it's your guys' fault, so props to you on this, I'm just now getting into pod therapy. And I've missed out. Honestly, I have.
Yeah.
So here we are plugging Pod Therapy in my explanation about how all these podcasts plug each other. But yeah, no, it was super fun. I found in that conversation that I have more things in common with you guys know it better than I do. So I'll just stick with the Jim Jobin. And not extrapolate the whole title.
I do believe it is King Lord Mr. Dr. Jimothy Mycicle Job Tholomew Esquire the Second.
So a lot of stuff in common with him and interests and everything like that. I'm like, oh, this is a dude that I should probably try to track down when I'm in Vegas one of these times.
So was it the Dr. Jim episode that got you into pod therapy then?
Yeah. Oh. I mean, I knew that they existed. They were always on the peripheral. It's kind of one of those things where, like with I listened to PSS. That's how that kind of got me into the rest of it. That's where I got started. And then my listening to ICS was research. So, and I may have mentioned this on some other podcasts before, but so the Elkton Magic thing was supposed to start back in 2020. It got halted like everything else in the world did, and the electric Volvo that I purchased that we talked about in the last episode had all of this is because of that car, by the way. So you don't need to drop that ad break again, but if you want to cut it and drop it back in here, it's deserved. We only know each other because of that car. I'm now for the first time realizing this. That car, unlike any of my other cars where I would normally have just listened to satellite radio or whatever, had a Google internet interface built into it. And with it had Spotify. And until I got that vehicle, I had never listened to a podcast in my life.
Really?
And didn't there was no this part of the story I am just realizing for myself right now. So I definitely have not talked about it on another podcast. So I'm flipping through and I'm finding, I'm trying to find some magic podcasts, and I find this one called, I think it was The Successful Mentalist or something like that. So I'm listening to that. And again, still very new. And then at some point in time, I was like, wait a minute. I think Penn Jillette has a podcast. Let's go research that. So I found it and I started listening to that. And it didn't take long to figure out who Matt was and to kind of start getting into the, who he is and who he is in this world.
Dare I say, it didn't take long to fall madly, deeply in love with Mr. Matthew Donnelly.
I don't know that I was there yet,
okay.
But so the genesis of that relationship was knowing that he was from New Jersey on the East Coast, probably I would say 2 hours ish from where I am.
Okay.
So not really knowing how involved, but having a taste for how involved in the magic community he was, and knowing that he worked for Penn and probably making some unnecessary assumptions that weren't necessarily true. I tagged him when it got to the point where things were starting to get normal-ish again, when capacities in venues like theaters were back to 100% in my area. I tagged him in a tweet from the Elkton Magic account saying, hey, you're from the East Coast. We're kicking this thing back off again. Do you know anybody out this way that might be interested in starting us off? And his response was, I do, and that person might be me. Because from his perspective, he's trying to get out there and just do shows, because that's what we do. I've made many offers on the Big Sexy Digital Nomad that, hey, if you fly me out and put me up to wherever you are, I'll probably do a show for you for nothing. Just the cost to get me there. Same goes for you guys, because obviously it's a more expensive offer for you, but I would not say no to coming out to either of your lands and performing.
It sounds like a good deal.
And everybody speaks English where you are. So, if Andra made me that offer, it might be a little different.
Scotland is sometimes almost not English.
Well, English-ish.
Yes.
The ish at the end is big and important. So his response was, hey, that person might be me. And it was obviously trying to get out there, but also he's got family that's a little over an hour from me. One of his brothers, the one that looks like the guy that took Tony Stark's company, if you've met them all or seen pictures of them, spitting image. Okay. Especially if you've had a few drinks in you and you see him from across the room, be like, Tony, better watch out. And Tony's not even a real person or in the room, but the Donnellys are very real. So that's what got us started. And Matt is the kind of guy that, from a professional standpoint, will absolutely, if you book him, and please do, anywhere and everywhere, he will show up. He will be on time. He will be prepared. He will do the work. You will be pleased. But he's not going to, it's not like a punch the clock in, punch the clock out. He comes, he hangs out. You get to know him, and you just get sucked into his world because that's just his personality. So, you know, the only reason that my wife does not wear the shirt that I bought her from your shop that says, we love and help support. Me out. We love and support Matt Donnelly in this household. She's like, they're gonna think this is, anybody that sees this is gonna think it's some fucking cancer survivor kid that I'm raising money for or have donated to. And I'm like, who cares?
The thing about that shirt is, though, it sounds like a joke, but it really, like you were saying, you do get sucked into Matt's world, into Matt, and I think it is 100% sincere. That slogan.
I mean, it's tough to not want to prop him up, like, you know. And it was important for me, and it's very important for me with all of the performers that we bring in here to roll out the red carpet for them. But the anticipation and the lead up for this most recent show that Matt did in Elkton, it really opened the door for just way too many gifts. Oh. Like they're like the shit that Brogan and I had time to prep, which actually I'm thinking that almost every gift at least was it designed by Brogan, because now that I'm looking at it, there were the lapel pins, there were the tarot cards, and I also ordered a Elkton Magic hoodie to give him.
Was it orange?
Red.
I saw him wearing that when he was rehearsing for the Fuller's tour. I was like, that looks like an Elkton Magic jumper.
It sure was. And that really, so funny story about that. And we will get back to maybe why. Hold on, let me get this aside in here, because this is about pot therapy. I was listening to PSS. I started listening to ICS because, we have brought this full circle, because I wanted to know, the guy that was running the community theater that we were first doing the Elkton Magic shows out of is the general manager of a brewery, a microbrewery a few doors up the road. And in this desire to roll out the red carpet, I was like, can you guys brew a beer and name it the Mind Noodler? And then I was like, fuck, does he even drink? Because I didn't know him at the time. I knew him through Penn. I knew and had heard in some of the episodes that I had listened to that he had jumped in at times with the Cray Ray thing. And I'm like, Penn doesn't drink. Is it possible that Matt doesn't drink? Am I going to offend him with this gift? So I started listening to ICS.
Good thing you didn't go early Matt Donnelly PSS episodes, because it fully sounded like he did not drink at all, the way that he would talk to Penn about it. Like, yeah, those days are long gone, well behind me. No booze for me. Yeah.
So I was like, well, he's got this other weird podcast, which I don't know if I knew how weird it was at the time. I learned quickly. And then you get sucked in there. And then obviously he's got Abracababble for those who are in the magic world. And sometimes you get to the point of like, how often do I really need to hear this person's voice? So
don't forget the
jump
pod.
To start. Right. When it exists.
Yeah.
You should poke the bear.
I'll ask him about season 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So you get into that same conundrum of how often do I want to hear Jacob the audio guy's voice with the bridge of getting into pod therapy. So so that was literally me getting into ICS, was doing research to find out, will I offend this man by naming a beer after him? That's all kind of gone in the wash now, but fuck, we're getting back to this. We'll get back to this. No, let's just do this. What was the tangent that I was just about to get off on?
Gifts for Matt?
There was gifts. There was the orange hoodie.
Oh, yes, the hoodie. So Alex Ramon if you are a Fool Us, if you watch Fool Us, you will most recently recognize Alex Ramon from the balancing routine that he did with MJ, his Golden Doxy,
yes,
which was in season 8, I want to say. Amazing. And I met him at Magic Live and was chatting with him, and I was like, ooh, Alex, I need to take a selfie with me and my wife's favorite magician. And he's like, oh, sure. I'm like, I'm talking about MJ, right? So I am messaging him a couple of days ago. He's on the Fuller's Live tour. I am messaging him, trying to get him to come to Elkton because he had posted something on Instagram. I don't understand the full business model to this yet. And he mentioned it at Magic Live and said, contact me and I'll fill you in. And that we have not connected all of that yet. But he somehow has something where he will do a magic show in your living room for free. Now, I don't know the back end of it yet. I don't know if he collects money from other people. Again, I don't know, and I don't need to really care about getting into the mix. I would just pay him to come perform in my theater. So I messaged him, and I was like, look, there are 3 options here, depending on the timing. You could, whatever your shtick is to my living room, we can do it. Depending on the timing, I will have a 30-seat private parlor theater in the room above my garage, which actually will be right there. By the time this is all done, if I record in this room, then there's going to be what appears to be a bookshelf here, which is going to be a hidden door that goes into the parlor. Nice. Or I have the 170-seater we can bring in and pay you to just do a ticketed stage show. And I'm like, you know what? As far as that's concerned, you're doing the Fuller's Live tour. When Matt comes in and you guys do rehearsals later, ask Matt about Elkton Magic. About 3 hours later, I get a text back from him that's a selfie of him and Matt. Matt came into rehearsals dressed like this, and he's wearing the Elkton Magic hoodie. So
it's to be. It was a sign, surely.
Exactly. So come on.
I think I've worked out his business model, though. I think I know his business model about performing in your living room for free.
Okay.
Are you familiar with episode 2 of the Brian Brushwood series, Hacking the System? It is all about getting into the house when it comes to home invasions and burglary. That's all it is. Step 1, get access into the house.
Oh man. I watched episode 1 of that. And my wife came in and was like, what is this shit? Yeah. And I didn't have the heart to turn to her and say, this entire series is my adolescent years. Okay. Like there was a fork in the road in my life in which I could have probably become some version of Brian Brushwood. And I took a different fork. Definitely spiky hair. Yeah. Not frosted tips, but I in those adolescent days, my teens and early 20s, I had big like almost like Vegeta style hair or Goku type hair. And I would take I would fuck around with all sorts of different hair solution to put in my hair and make it go that way.
Egg whites.
And I was shopping in the ethnic hair care section of the of whatever store I was in most of the time. And what turned out to be the most universally, I could get it anywhere, and I know what it's going to do, is literally just taking Vaseline. Oh. And that was what I put in my hair, and it always looked wet. And it always stayed up, and it was weird. There might be some pictures of me back when I was in a band.
You find
music,
these pictures, you like find that. Them, and we will post them on the socials.
As someone who wanted to be Vegeta growing up, you need them. Who has a collection of Vegeta toys over there? You need to get these pictures.
See, you're not the only person who has started listening to Pod Therapy from listening to Hey Buddy Nice Podcast. My mum said to me, she messaged me the other day, because I messaged her because it's her birthday. Shout out, happy birthday, my mum, from this past week. She's like, I have so much time keeping up with all my podcasts now. I was like, oh, it's so funny, my mum listening to all these podcasts. And I'm like, oh yeah, what are you listening to? She's like, well, obviously there's you guys, there's Pod Therapy, there's Penn Sunday School, there's Ice Cream Social. Now there's going to be Two Characters and the Clown as well. I was like, I don't have the heart to say, you're going to have to start listening to Big Sexy Digital Nomad.
And she used to just listen to like some serious podcast, right? Like a real podcast?
Like nothing really.
Or was it your mother?
My mum listens to the Diary of a CEO and Us and nothing.
Okay. I was going to say one of your mothers I knew was listening to like some serious, it's about real things podcast.
Yeah, my mum.
I don't have time for shit like that.
But yeah, dear listener, if you have a mother, please suggest Hey Buddy Nice podcast to them.
The mother-friendly podcast.
But not my mother.
No?
I mean, she can listen to y'all's podcasts. That's fine, but she doesn't need to be listening to mine.
Yeah, we're not saying she needs to listen to your
keep
podcast.
That at arm's length.
Yeah, can listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we sort of went. There was art mentions going on, so maybe we should go into art talk, eh? That sounds doable. Now, I mean, even though I've got my soundboard Stream Deck set up, I don't have a drop or musical cue for art talk because, we don't have one. But if we did, I'd be hitting that button instead of, just a random one like... So, instead we're just going to have to talk with nothing playing over the top of us. Now...
that's as good of a drop as any, I'll say.
It is, being... if only for the fact that it's a combination of Penn and Matt Donnelly being melded together. So, Brogan, I think Jobeth had already mentioned one of the arts that you have done.
Yeah. As someone who hasn't even listened to the episode yet, I have no idea why I done it. I just know that you messaged me and said, can you make me the opposite of a hunky boy? Can you make me a stripper? A cheap hooker. I'm like, I can do that.
You will commit crimes against art and God.
Yes.
I have two versions of this because the first one, I think the file is called hooker.
Yep.
And then when I asked you to put some cash in my hand and you put cash in my hand and added a cigarette, that file is titled cheap hooker.
Yeah, I gave you $1.
A single buck. But
that's all you need.
One thing I noticed about that, though, is there are no feet. Am I wrong in saying that?
It was very late. I was stressed out my gourd. I was like, I can draw this. I will draw this quickly. I can't draw feet.
And honestly, at the timing of it, because I'll throw shit at Brogan at random times, and then we're 5 hours separated, so it's always later. I had no idea that you were prepping for what will not be mentioned again, and so I'm just throwing stuff at you, not knowing. We live in this digital world where we don't know what everybody else is going on at any given time. But I just throw stuff into the ether and say, hey, and very rarely is there like a specific deadline time frame on anything. And obviously I'll say, hey, if we can do this by this date, like when we did the special tarot cards for a birthday party that I did. Yeah. And it wasn't a, hey, do this in this time frame. It was a, hey, can you do this in this time frame? If so, this is the deadline. Which that was so great. They still talk about that.
I
which
love
they
that
will
video.
Forever.
Just him going, oh shit, when he realizes it's him on a card.
So that's. I mean, all of this is in Art Talk. So
Art Talk.
Many people probably have seen. This started in Piff Pod, correct?
What's this?
The tarot cards started in Piff Pod?
Yes, I can't remember who said it. I remember.
So there was a conversation on Piff Pod probably about a year ago now, maybe more, where they were talking, Matt, Jade, and Piff were talking about if they were tarot cards, if they were depicted on tarot cards, which ones they'd be. Yeah. And then Brogan grabbed the baton and just started drawing them up. I'm assuming based on them saying I'd be this one and I'd be that one. I know that. Or maybe you picked them.
I know that they said Piffles is the hermit because that's why Piffles is separately. I know that they said Jade is the high priestess because otherwise I might have as empress. I don't think they mentioned. Well, I know they said Piff is magician. I don't know if they mentioned Matt or not.
So you did those, and then I guess you probably started doing those. And then you circled around and said, hey, let's do the whole arcana and put magicians on all of them. And somewhere in that point in time, I had reached out to you and said, hey, if you want to do all of these, so maybe you hadn't done them all yet. Maybe that was
I think I'd got about halfway through and then kind of put it on the back burner, and you messaged me saying, are you going to finish this? Like, yeah.
Because if you're going to finish this, I will pay to have them actually produced. With a few asterisks, because I had a routine that I wanted to do and I was using tarot cards for it. And I was like, what better way to do something unique than to have these tarot cards made? And there are a few special ones that have been made that nobody knows about other than us. And I told Matt about them. And I don't know if our Uncle RJ knows about them or not, but probably if he doesn't, he will eventually. So they were all done. And then you even went and started doing the minor arcana, the suits. The suits. Yeah, all of them, basically. And we had them printed. I don't know, what did we do? Like 10 decks or something the first time through?
I think so, yeah.
And because this is not something that we intend to market. And I believe that there would probably be copyright issues, at least from
one specific,
the owner of Kabblip.
Yeah.
Yes. In fact, in the very first run, there are 2 versions of that card.
Yeah.
One that is that person, and it doesn't even have his name on it. Even the ones that have people's name on, this one just says C.A. where the name would be. And we did a second version of it with Uncle RJ as the Mind Noodler, which is what he did at Scoopfest at the variety show that I missed. And it's him dressed up, basically looking like the Mind Noodler, but he's got a big red ball. And I was like, the big red ball needs to be incorporated because it's kind of a, backdoor homage. And then we had chatted about doing a couple variations. I wanted to have a version done for me to possibly work into the routine. Plus, it was that came about timing wise around the same time that I was going through the name change from the Almost Psychic to Judge Mentalist. So I was like, what better thing than to put me on the tarot card for judgments? Like, my character name's basically there. So we did those. We did some special Mac King ones in a second run. There's like a second run of cards that Matt knows about the ICS version of the Fool. By the way, he knows it all.
I need to edit that one.
This sounds like there's a full parallel deck.
There's ones to swap in and out. Yeah. So there's I got asked to do a performance at the 60th birthday party of a colleague of mine. And for whatever reason, the light bulb went off. I'm going to do this routine there. And I was asked to do this like 2, maybe 2.5 weeks ahead of time. The light bulb went off. If Brogan can hook this up and I can make this happen, I'm going to do this routine with the birthday boy turning 60. So boy's not really the right word, and his wife. So the routine, to kind of break it down, is you bring 2 people up on stage, a couple usually. And I could do this routine different ways that don't necessarily involve a couple. Like I could take, if I were doing like a corporate event and there was like the CEO and the vice president or something, or the 2 founders of a company or whatever, the premise of the effect is testing the connection that 2 people have with each other. And I have this deck of tarot cards and I fan through and I show the audience that they're all different. And I'm working on changing this routine a little bit. The current version of it is we just riffle through the cards and the first person tells me to stop. And if I have a male and female participant, the first person that I work with is the female. And I'm changing this routine. I haven't perfected it yet, so I haven't performed it the new way yet. But I'm going to have it where the cards get cut out into 3 piles and we do partial tarot reading and keep the third card a secret by the first person. Then the cards get all mixed up, and then the other person is, as I'm dealing down, selects cards And ultimately, they eliminate cards, and it ends up being the same card as the first person. Well, for this effect, we tailored the Lover's card to be an illustration of Steve and Michelle, who were the birthday party guest of honor, I guess is the right word, and his wife. So that was a big hit, and it was fun because as I'm doing the routine, I handled the cards differently than I normally would. So normally I'd just, hold the card up to them and let them see the whole card as they've selected the card out of the deck, the first person that is. This time I've got my hand awkwardly over the middle of the card so that she could read the name of the card that was at the bottom, but not see the full card, because I did not want her to see and recognize herself on it until the final reveal. So when we got those done, and I was like, okay, what other alternate cards are we trying to do? I had a bunch done for mentors of mine within the Magic world. Jeff McBride, who is somewhat well known. If you're in the Magic community, he's definitely well known. If you're a Magic fan, just as an outsider, you'd probably know who he is. And some other people from there did one for his wife, because it was just kind of like, hey, I'm going to order all these cards. There might as well be anything that we're going to think of. Like, do you have anything that you want done? Because they're getting ordered. Let's go. So you did a version of the Fool with the 3 guys from ICS. The ones for me, I did ones where, to give Matt these cards, if he wanted to do the routine and have himself be the reveal card, that's possible now within the routine that I worked up. We did 3 different versions of Mac King that were brilliant and amazing.
I liked Mac's one because Mac has his usual one with his invisibility cloak where you can still see him, and then just the invisibility cloak. And I was like, I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, that was fantastic, and that turned out well. And the original Mac King card is just him in his suit with a fishtail coming out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. So of all of the cards that were done, I would believe that the Mac King series are the most iconic to his routine than any of the other ones. Yeah. I mean, all of them are great, but that is just like hey, you want to know what Mac King's show is? Here it is. Yep. These 3 cards.
Perfect.
This is the world. So then in knowing that where I am wanting to do more shows and not really being worried about getting paid for it, but wanting to potentially be able to make some money, cover expenses or otherwise, I was like, wouldn't it be cool to turn this lapel pin or this tarot card into a lapel pin? So then I made it a lapel pin, and then I was like, you know what? Matt's got this problem more than I do. Being out there on the road, smaller venues, they can only pay you so much.
I thought you were going to say alcoholism.
He needs more merchandise. Right. Same problem I have. At probably a very similar level. So not problematic, but
not Jacob levels.
Decisions can be made, and it can get there. It's definitely within reach. Certainly will feel that way after a week on this cruise. So then I was like, I need to make they turned out very, very well. And I was like, Brogan, I should do a set of these for Matt, right? Because now he's got other, he went through the whole thing of what kind of merch can I get? Because I don't want to tote around t-shirts, because you're going to need all sorts of different sizes and colors and all this other stuff. So he started doing the duck calls, and I'm like, these would be great. People will want these. People love lapel pins. Not all people, but people who do won't not buy it. Yeah. And so we did those too. You did the Elkton Magic logo. So yeah, this whole episode is art talk.
Yeah. And you're currently wearing one. You're currently wearing Matt's t-shirt.
Yes.
I got noodled at Elkton Magic. And RJ has a version too. I think they'll be the only two.
Yeah.
Which
what's the RJ?
Are we really going to?
I haven't seen the RJ version.
It's not in the store yet.
Okay. No, I'll not say it.
You show me later.
I struggle with whether it's ever going to be in the store.
For a limited run.
there may be this may be one that gets done by a local printer in a handful of sizes and is available at the show and only at the show, because there's a public perception to what's in the storefront,
Yeah.
And as this thing grows, it just I don't know. It's if you knew, it would make sense to everybody here.
Yeah.
But to the general public,
yeah.
I'll tell Wayne. I'll tell Wayne, and he can cut it out. It's at RJ's suggestion.
Does it say Uncle RJ?
It does.
Yes.
Yeah, good. Yeah, it has to. Yeah, no, of course it does.
And then it has the Elkton Magic logo on the bottom.
All right. So, you Brogan, you also done, I believe this artwork was for our buddy Mitzi. Or was it not for Mitzi? It is for Mitzi. It was for Mitzi.
Mitzi asked. It's technically for our
jury.
Former kidnapper, just Robert Young. He turns, there's the big photo on 5th of March, but Mitzi was going down to Austin cigars for his birthday, a band. He's like, can you do a picture of Jury with his bird doctor? And I want a band for it, and I want stickers, because some people don't want cigars. So I did that, and he got them.
Yep. Yeah. When I saw Mitzi's post earlier today, he's just saying, "Oh, cigars now come. You can get custom wraps for them." I'm like, okay, and I click on the picture and I'm like, hang on, I recognize that art style.
I love the fact that my art style is recognizable enough that like, hang on a second.
I like that there's things that you don't tell me about that I see in the wild just pop up, like both of these examples.
Like I purely forget.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I don't know what I'm allowed to talk about and what I'm not. Because the amount of times that I've said we've been doing art talk and I'm like, oh, I've got a thing for Jobeth, but I can't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I don't think, when we talked about this earlier, I don't think we have any secret projects anymore. Everything is at least public-ish.
I think so, yeah.
Except for that one little nugget.
But yeah, because are all the performers for Elkton that I've done so far?
It wouldn't, well... Going back to the last episode, yeah.
Yeah.
Are they all publicly announced? No.
Yeah. Because the only two other ones I haven't done yet, and they're on the list. But yeah.
Right. So the formal announcement for the closest one. So what I'm doing with those is I'm announcing to the public each show. The third one out will be announced at tonight's show.
Yeah.
So basically, there will always be three shows available.
Yeah.
So when we're at show 0, I'll announce show 3. It will be announced, and the format for anybody who wants to know how to save the most money seeing a performer at Elkton Magic, if you are on the email list, which you get on there one of two ways, you go to elktonmagic.com and you sign up. It's like any other email list, except we don't email you 3 times a week or more. A week before they are announced to the public, you will get a promo code for pre-sale. So I'll do a 7-day pre-sale for all these shows. Your biggest discount is going to be there. Your second largest discount is going to be in the program of the show for the next 3 shows. But that one will be less of a discount than the pre-sale discount. And then depending on all of the performers moving forward, will have their own promo code. So if you buy from them, they get all of the money. And I encourage everybody to do that, because this is a project of joy, not a project of profit for me. So if every ticket were sold through the with the exception of the shows that are for charities themselves, then I work out a flat fee with the performers. But on the ones where they have a promo code, it means that after I pay the venue, 100% of the money will go in their pocket. So please, if you are interested in a specific performer, troll them, find their promo code, use that promo code, because then that means the performer gets all of the money. Because the only thing I'm using any of the money for that's not that is being able to pay money to bring in a higher dollar performer.
Question.
Yes.
You were the fucking tattoo.
I have a question for Brogan. Every time that Jobeth said promo code, in your head, did you go pen?
Yeah.
Yep, every time. Every time.
There was one time where I did go P-E-N-N.
P-E-N-N, yeah.
So there are 2 other promo codes that will exist at every show. That's one of them, because Brogan mentioned the other week hearing my name at the top of some Penn Sunday School episodes.
Yes.
Yep.
That is because I dropped a dime on the whatever that Patreon level is after clearing it with Matt, and that it would be fine to do. So the one where Penn will do a video for me every month, and I was like, so I will have no problem with this, and Penn will have no problem if I just tell him who the next month's performer is.
Yep.
And then he does a video plug for them. So those are coming.
Great. That's
and then, of course, why not put the promo code PENN in there? And then into perpetuity, and I've made this promise, and it's on the Elkton Magic social media and everything. Well, I think it's only on the on Twitter, which is where I probably connect with more scoops than anywhere. The Hey Scoops at checkout will always work for any show. If it doesn't work, and somehow Elkton Magic is affiliated with it, it means I did not set up the event page, and it's some third party that we might be sponsoring an event. Otherwise, Hey Scoops at checkout will always work, and it will be a discount that is more than 1 penny.
Yep. I looked into us having discount codes, right? Have you done this on T-Fury as well? You have to like talk to a real person to set that shit up.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's like no, I'm not. No,
we're not there yet.
There are two elements to which I haven't even explored that on TeePublic. Number one, just wait a week and they'll be given 30 or 35% off.
Exactly.
And number two, the amount of money that you make on those sales is so minuscule anyway. It's funny because I reached out to Brogan before setting that up, being like, hey, is there some sort of an affiliate link, some way that you guys will get money on my thing? And looking into it, like apparently you guys make $1 every time an item out of the Elkton Magic shop sells up to the first 1,000. And I'm like, fuck, these guys are making more money on this shit than I am.
We made,
because I don't think I make $1 a unit.
I think last month we made more money off that than our own sales.
We did.
And again, I think that you guys probably made more money from my sales than I made off of my sales. Now, for me, I don't care about that because it's about getting those logos out into the community in ways so that people are like, wait, what's that shirt you're wearing? Tell me what that is. And then they have the conversation.
Exactly.
Like,
it's fun.
The conversation that I started having with Matt was, do you mind if I put these in the shop? And I had already bought some stuff, so I knew what the margin was. I'm like, I'd offer to give you all of the profit from any of the sales, but I trust that you already know how low that is. So administratively, it's a waste of fucking time.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that you make $1 a unit on some of this stuff when their sales go. I'm sure that when you're buying not during the sale, you make more money. But why would I ever buy things not when they're, I can wait 10 days
exactly
and there'll be another sale.
I tell all my friends that if it's not on sale this week, wait till next week and it will probably be on sale. It's we don't care if you're not paying for. We don't want you to pay full price. Basically, we want you to just wear our shit, or tote bags, tapestries, wall arts, whatever. That's all we care about.
All of this stuff for us, I would imagine, is probably the same for you. Is you want it out there so people are, hey, what's that?
Yep.
And then they talk about whatever's on it, whether it be the podcast, whether it be the magic venue, or otherwise. I'll put it out here now. To anybody that wants to attend one of our Elkton Magic shows, go buy merch. Send me through any of my numerous social media channels a selfie or a photo of you in the wild wearing that merch and which show you want free tickets to, and they are yours.
Wow.
I will give you a free offer.
I'll give you a free pair of tickets if you can capture yourself wearing the Elkton Magic merch out in the wild.
Flights and accommodation not included.
True. Just the tickets.
Are we talking like obstructed view tickets, or what are we talking here?
No, come on down.
Cool.
Yeah. It'll cost you guys far more money to get here than it will be to go to the shows.
Yeah. No, it's not financially viable for us. All right.
If it weren't for your other trip, I would have been leveraging to try to get Brogan at least to come here, because in a 8-day span, we have Uncle RJ's show at Elkton Magic, and then in the same town, we have the Scottish Games Festival.
So like hurling logs, throwing axes and shit, we're talking?
All of the above.
Yeah.
Yes. It's from what they're saying, and Brogan would be the litmus test to this. It is as true to tradition as they can get.
Cool. So I believe it's the Highland Games, though. Is that right, Brogan?
We have the Highlands, and you never know. I mean, I might come out to Vegas and not come home. I keep threatening to do it.
If you make good on that threat, then we'll make that happen. Why not?
All it takes is one person to offer me a job.
Yeah.
One person to offer me a job in Vegas and or the United States.
We're putting this
wins
out.
Mouth, finger, butthole.
Yeah, we're putting this out now. Oh, as in you can marry into a green card.
Exactly.
Is that what? Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look.
So we'll throw the gauntlet down.
Mm-hmm.
Brogan is actually been hired as the art director for Elkton Magic. The only problem is that the work is periodic. It's not a full-time job. However, if we were to sell out every show every time, there might be the ability to actually make that a real job.
Yeah.
And you get to see a good magic show. Just fucking do it.
This isn't Brogan exclusive either, by the way. I'm down to, look, offer me a job. I'll commit bigamy. I'll marry again.
So you're going to live in Utah, huh?
That's Vegas adjacent.
You'll be within driving distance of Vegas.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, Brogan, any other arts this past 7 days?
I mean, true to form, I have stuff I have done that I can't talk about.
Non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah, but no, this has been a very, very long week. So next week should get back to more art stuff because I have. Well, as of when is the 1st of March? 1st of March is Wednesday.
Not this Wednesday.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yesterday.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The 1st of March to the listener is yesterday.
I have so much to do.
Yeah.
I have so much to do. That looks like it's mirror image, but you know.
Yeah. So the 1st of March brings about a new calendar, Hunky Boy.
Hunky
yeah.
Boy calendar.
Yes,
that's right.
Of course. I forgot all about that's upcoming.
Yeah, so by the time you hear this, Mr. March will have been posted, and it's, of course, Mr. Pendulite looking very sexy, if I might say so myself. And then you get him again 5 days later because it's his birthday.
Yeah,
post.
it's the same as Teller, isn't it? It was a double up month, yeah.
I felt so bad for Taylor being like, sorry.
Well, I mean, that's destiny if you are, you'll get 2 for Matt Donnelly in April.
That's true.
Yeah. It happens.
Because you're doing them when you can, lined up with the birthdays.
Yeah.
This is a lot less coincidental than I thought.
No, that was the original plan, but that was before I started doing a Hunky Boy for people's birthdays. And then I was like, this is a bad idea.
Have you had any...
The Hunky Boy dachshund you did, I've gotten miles out of that because we have a Chiweenie that is the same color scheme.
Oh my God.
And my family just thinks you did that for me.
You should tell them, yep, no, it's for me.
I just offered it via text with no explanation. And it was in the same family text chain where every so often I will send out one of the fun Twitter profiles that I've started following is Raccoons Hourly.
Yeah.
So every so often when there's just a special little trash panda there, that gets texted out to that same group. Yeah, good times.
All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much time with the podcast within a podcast. Not so good at this podcast, but I figure we should at least do one comic. So I'm just going to share my screen. Basic one. Share. All right. Seems we got 3 peeps here. Mm-hmm. We can. Have you got a pirate accent within you, Jobeth?
Yeah, I'll make something work.
All right.
Not so good at this.
The only comic we're looking at today is Sad Pirate number 31, and it's 4 panels long. In the first panel, we see Sad Pirate all happy and excited because he's about to make a purchase, and he's saying,
"Yar, I'd like to purchase a waterbed, me good man."
And in the second panel, the shop assistant is replying,
I can't sell you a waterbed.
And Sad Pirate, all defensive, is shouting,
"It's me hook, ain't it? This is discrimination. Discrimination."
And in the last panel, the worker responds,
"Sir, this is an Arby's."
That's the comic. I forgot that. How obvious is it that with a double R that it's meant to be is like, it's Arby's, but it's a pirate Arby's.
It fits.
Okay,
yes.
good.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted.
Says the guy who got into it that he missed the cue, the third one in. So
that's okay. It's hard. It's like, because sometimes I won't queue up the next panel and we'll just keep going. So it's curveballs every time.
And I just sit there looking at Wayne like.
Yep. But
Okay.
it doesn't matter because I can edit out any silence and things like that. So it works out fine. It's all good.
you guys actually cut shit out of your podcast. How about that?
Not so much anymore. Usually it's only if there's awkward stuff going on, or if I say something I'm not meant to say, or if I talk about dead firefighters or something like that.
And even then, that goes in the bonus content.
Yeah, that ended up in the bonus content. It had to. It had to. All right, so what else we got? We got... look, I've written stuff down, but I don't... Oh, I guess there was the title card as well. There was the 50th episode title card. That was a throwaway. I didn't like that one. But the episode 51, Hey Buddy, Nice Vegas Dreamin'. I'm surprised that turned out better than... It turned out better than I thought it was gonna.
You sent it over to me, and I was like, I fucking love this, because I love all that.
You said that it may have surpassed Flamin' Coup, and I was a little offended.
I love Flaming Coup, but I really liked that one.
Yeah. So if you haven't seen it, basically it's a hand-drawn silhouette of, like, Vegas horizon skyline artist interpretation, and then it's got all these like neon signs of all the shit that we talked about, like, you know, Absinthe, Mad Apple. I didn't do a kablip. I should have done a kablip. But yeah, basically all the logos of all these shows, places we want to go, things like that. And it was inspired by an old, it's typical thing, like movies where like you've got the neon signs flying towards you during, like, I don't know what that's like, during a time lapse, I guess, usually.
Yeah, it's like somebody walking down the street and it's all dark and you see the signs passing.
Yeah, but it is specifically... I mean, I could be wrong because I'm doubting myself now, but I believe that it's specifically inspired by an old Chip and Dale cartoon. I'm almost certain it is. And I think it was the one... Because we had it recorded on VHS. My grandparents had it, so every time we went there, we would watch this tape, all the time. And this particular... I rewatched the cartoon in the last couple of years, and it's like, basically Chip and Dale are both being played by the same girl, chipmunk. She's dating them both. Neither of them know, and she's like teeing them up against each other. She finds it hilarious that they are fighting over her, and it's like, this is. But at one point there was that sort of montage of flying neon. I think that's what it was from. I could be very wrong now. It may have been a Donald Duck cartoon. I don't remember any of my life. So clearly magic, I guess, is more so your artistic outlet then. But have you, like, has it always been, have you always been into magic or done any other sort of artistic endeavors?
No, I've only been doing magic for about 5, maybe 6 years now. And really only from the like public performance perspective for a little over a year.
Wow.
The Matt, actually, that first show that he did, he's like, hey, you want to open for me? That was my first time doing anything on stage.
Oh, wow.
So that's when it all started. It's all his fault.
Damn you, Matt Noodler.
I mean, when I was in high school and some college, I played bass guitar and I was in a band, which is where some of those wonky pictures of me wearing with Afro sheen in my hair, or you know, or floating around, usually with an instrument in my hand. But other than that, not really. Like, I have ideas and then I float them to one of you guys, and then you make them something that is actually able to be interpreted by the public.
A lot of the time, ideas is half the battle. So it's. Yeah, I mean, it's...
And I'm fine, but, you know, like, I consider myself to be a creative person, even though I don't necessarily have the tactile skills to turn it into something worth a damn. So if that's where I end up being in the grand scheme of things, I'm cool with it.
It makes me think...
Because in the end, I get to see what was in my head out there in the world.
It makes me think of the movie School of Rock, starring Jack Black and other people. Mike White, Sarah Silverman. I do know things. Where at the end, when they're about to hit the stage at the Battle of the Bands, Jack says to the kid, we should do your song. And the kid's like, are you sure? It's like, yeah, your song rocks harder or whatever. And he's like, all right, but you've got to sing it, he says to Jack. And Jack's like, are you sure? It's like, I'm not a singer. It's that mentality. I had a point in there.
It's teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep. See how I used an analogy that also included a band to like bring it all back together? We need to talk about ducks. Okay. I think if I don't talk about it now, I'm going to forget about it because I did see a license plate. And if we don't talk about it, if we miss a week, we're going to lose our position as the number one license plate and bumper sticker podcast. Oh, technically, you talked about yours, the tricky license plate. So we're covered. We're covered. But I've already...
That was in the last episode, so we're going to hit both.
Yeah, but for this week, we're set. But I've already billboarded it, so we're going to have to talk about it now. Has anyone else got any bumper stickers or license plates of note that they have seen recently?
Nope.
You guys know damn well that when I see them, I snap them, I send them to you.
Yeah. Well, I saw one, and at first I was angry because... It's pretty simple. I mean, none of this replacing letters with numbers or anything like that. It just said fancy. That's a pretty good one to snap up because I imagine it would be like high demand. But the thing is, it was on like a shitty Toyota hatchback. It's like, come on, what the actual fuck? I mean, then I thought, unless they're being ironic or something like that, and it's like, okay. But then I started thinking, I don't know this person. This person, who knows, maybe they were well off. Maybe they had a Beamer or something in the past. Maybe it got totaled. Maybe it got hijacked. Maybe they lost their job and they had to sell their prized possession car. And all they could afford was this fucking Toyota POS. And that's what it's on now. But they can still afford to pay for their licensing.
I'm just sitting here going, they spent so much money on the license plate that they can't afford a fancy car.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I don't know how much. I don't really know how much personalized plates cost here. I should research that. Like, I have looked into like Perth Wildcats plates in the past, and they're like $700, but that is like a sports team one-off, and then you're just paying your registration every. God, I pay my registration every 3 months, and oh no. It's okay. There's not a bill on the fridge, so we're in the clear. But the thing is, it's like if you pay for it half yearly, it's cheaper. You get a discount. If you pay for it yearly, it's an even bigger discount. But it's a lot of money to be paying at one time.
I do it yearly, but it is so that I don't until they say, "Hey, you owe us money." It's like, "Oh, it's been a year already."
Yeah. And then I don't know if there's extra charges for having personalized plates as well. It's like, I'm not gonna. I don't know what I would get. I don't think I could make that kind of commitment, committing to something like that as I'm pointing to tattoos.
I think that, if you get one for the sake of getting one, you're going to end up with the license plate that says fancy on a shitty car.
Yeah.
So, it needs to work. It needs to make sense. Otherwise, it just doesn't make it, it's stupid.
It has inspired me for another tattoo. I'm just going to get a tramp stamp that says fancy. Yeah.
Things to do in
you're
Vegas.
You're going to do well in Vegas.
But I feel like it would be
you will Wayne. You will have no problem finding work in that town.
But will they have healthcare? Will it have healthcare? That's all. That's all that matters.
Do you really need healthcare?
Yeah,
you need it.
You will if you're doing that job.
Yeah, I would be the human equivalent of that car.
You had a question for me.
Yes, I did. I was just looking at my list.
That you even wrote down, so you didn't forget.
Exactly. So this is a big sexy digital nomad style question, and my question is travel insurance. How do you feel about travel insurance? Is it a necessity? Is it a scam?
I am going to say yes to both, and I say that with some types of travel, that it absolutely can be just kind of a cash grab, useless sort of thing. It's important when you're booking your travel to kind of know what the stipulations of that travel are. So a lot of my domestic travel in the US is flying through Southwest, and I fly through Southwest enough that I can cancel any flight up to 15 minutes before boarding that flight and get a full refund. So there's no purpose in that scenario to have travel insurance. A lot of hotels, especially in the COVID era, also have very, very flexible policies on refunds and cancellations. So look into that stuff first before. Now, if you get into international travel, and where I'm answering yes to both of the questions is because situations like you guys coming to the States, a lot of times that travel insurance will also include limited to your trip health insurance. So if you ended up needing to go to the hospital for whatever reason, illness, accident, or otherwise, it ends up getting covered. So knowing whether or not, from a trip cancellation standpoint, in the modern era, it's kind of useless.
Yep.
From the other benefits that it has, if your luggage gets lost or stolen or otherwise, potentially health insurance, things like that, then I think there's a ton of value to it. Yep. And so it's really kind of case by case scenario, but that's that's kind of the rundown. A lot of my travel, especially if I'm going to Vegas, I'm staying in a hotel room that's been comped by a casino plus the whole flight thing. Yeah. So I'll never do travel insurance on one of those trips. But for the cruise, it for two people, I want to say that it was like an extra $60, maybe not even that, to get it. Okay, fine. I might not even, this last time when my guy's like, hey, do you want to add this? It's only, I think it was like $49. I didn't even really ask what it included. If I need it, then I'll dig into, hey, is there health insurance? But when you're on a cruise, there's an infirmary and that's all kind of included anyway. Yeah. But, it costs us an element. If it costs next to nothing and does something, then, hey, why not? Better to have it and not need it.
Yeah. Definitely healthcare, I think, for us is the major thing to do with travel insurance. But like you said, cancellation and things like that, it would take extreme circumstances for cancellations to be what we'd want to claim on. But it feels very scary, I think, at least for me, going from, universal healthcare country just for a trip for a few weeks and being told, yep, you're going to have to pay out $700, $800 to have your entire time covered there. And then when they tell you how much it's covering, it will cover up to unlimited hospital, $100,000 in this, $1 million personal liability, things like that. It starts to make you think, do I actually want to travel? It seems scary all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Well, at that number, you could probably stay another week if you didn't have to pay it.
When last time in America, me and Kez, we were there for 3 months basically, and I don't think it was anywhere near this amount. So I think travel insurance, at least from Australia, is going up in price. Because I think we paid
went up
$600 or something. Now it's like $800-900 to get full coverage. The coverage where if you run someone down in your car, you're going to be fine. On a personal liability standpoint.
Yeah.
Mentally, maybe not.
Financially, not emotionally.
Yeah. And then it depends if you're doing it on purpose or not. It's... what's his name? Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's what jumps to mind. Cameron.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I'm talking about the actor.
I can't remember. Oh, the actor, Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, we're talking about that situation, Yeah. Yep.
But actually, having travel questions, I do have one that I've not mentioned to Wayne before. But somebody mentioned this to me the other day, and I don't know if you guys would know this or not, but do you still need a COVID passport to come in the US?
I don't think so. I think that's all dialed back now.
That's what I thought, but someone in my mum's work is going to Florida, and apparently they need a COVID pass.
Okay.
I've not been told.
Yeah, there may be specific places
First things first.
No, there's no
if anywhere
way that Florida is making you.
Thank you.
They would. There was a big to do because the cruise lines early on when they opened back up wanted to require the COVID testing and everything like that, and many ports are in domestic U.S. are in Florida, and there was a big to do with the governor there and passing legislation. He gets a little sand in his crack, and then we'll just go get legislation passed about anything that pisses him off. Ask Disney. It's kind of a fun thing to watch from a distance. I'm glad I don't live there because it's all like super crazy reactive. Like who pissed you off about what today, buddy? Oh, okay.
But no, Brogan, it would have, when you booked your flights, you would have been prompted by your air carrier. Please be aware, there are extra travel restrictions and requirements when entering the United States, and it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't say that now. I mean, when I came home last time, I didn't have to have a COVID passport to get into Australia. And 2 weeks prior, you did. So if Australia doesn't need it, United States certainly not. So I do believe we have a question as well, which I think was only going to be reserved.
Before we go anything, I've just got a notice coming up saying low storage space, so if this stops recording, I do apologise, but that's why.
Okay, cool.
Pre-warning.
Right. We're about to end anyway. But we were going to reserve this just for Las Vegas residents, but you're fairly familiar with Las Vegas, and I think we're going to be there at the same time. So, where are you going to take us?
Well, we've already. So where do you want to go?
Well, we could if you know somewhere nice that maybe other people don't know about to eat. Secret hidey hole, something like that.
I will tell you, and this does not work for Brogan, but in the Rio up top, there is a really nice steakhouse. I'm sure there's other great food on that menu, but
fries.
I'm trying to think. The last time I was out there, I ended up, you know what? There is a place that is not far from the Strip that is a Thai restaurant that is completely vegan.
Oh.
And one of my magician friends took me there during Magic Live, and I'm blanking on the name of this place right now, but that is absolutely 100% a to-go place.
Let's pencil that in.
A place.
Let's pencil in vegan Thai place. That sounds good. Yeah. All right. So, Jobeth, where can the fine folks at home find you on the internet?
Well, the easiest place to see me as far as my professional stuff is concerned is either at judgementalist.com, Psychic-ish on any of the socials. Chef Kenny's is the name of that restaurant.
Chef Kenny's.
Nice. And I think there's a couple locations throughout Las Vegas, but there's one that's not too far, like 10 minutes from the Strip. We'll go there. It's super good. Wayne, you won't even know that you're not eating meat.
I'm fine with
that. Other than the fact that we've told you. Big Sexy Nomad, either .com or Big Sexy Nomad on the socials for all of that. Consider us, if you are a Pod Therapy listener, to be your Pod Therapy for travel. So send us questions about your travel life, whether they are about mistakes that you think you made in the past so that you can do them better in the future, or upcoming questions. And I'm toying around, there's like I'm teetering back and forth because with the these audio postcards that we're doing, I like the idea of us listening to them absolutely cold and reacting to them for the first time. However, there are some questions that if they are legit travel questions and not just people messing around with us, and the light is green for both, just so you know, feel free to mess with us. In fact, the direct line to leave one of these audio podcasts is a website. If you go to the web domain prankcall.me, that will take you right to this. So the invitation is out there to mess with us. Please do. But if it becomes something where somebody's like the last one that we addressed, which will come out on yesterday's episode from the timeline of this, 2 days ago's episode, right? Friday, Tuesday, yeah. Friday. Okay. So 2 days ago, Wednesday this week was one that there was a lot of benefit, and if you listen to the episode, you'll see why, in having the question ahead of time, because I ended up going to somebody that worked specifically in the world that allowed me to give a concise and accurate answer to this question. So maybe if you've got one, let's put it this way. If you have one that you're leaving as an audio message, send an email about it too. That if it has, like a more complex or nuanced travel question. That way, if it's something that we don't directly know the answer to, if it's in the email, I'll actually read those. And then if I need to do some research or Big Sexy needs to do some research, we'll do so ahead of time.
So yeah, do that. Right into Big Sexy Digital Nomad with your travel questions. Informative, helpful. Helped us today with our travel questions. Perfect. But yep, you can also check us out on social media at NicePodBud. We're wrapping this up because the recording might end unexpectedly. You can also talk directly to Brogan at 7 Billion Needles.
You can talk to Wayne at Wayne.
So yep, do that. Ask our friends. Big Sexy, ask Jobeth questions that you've got about travel and they'll answer. But anyway, in the meantime, thanks for stopping by and having a listen.
As always, stay fresh, cheese bags.